Greetings all, Frog here. It's time for the Monday update from the pond for the 18th of January, 2016. I'm using the new recording, and it occurs to me that this is going to be very small. I'm not entirely certain how to fix that for this one, and I kind of unfortunately have to get this one out the door because it is 1 minute before actually being Monday the 18th. So I just need to get this update out there, and I apologize for the what will probably be small visuals, but hopefully you can get enough out of it, and what I'm talking about, that things will be okay. I could figure out the window size if I... No, I mean, what I'll probably end up doing then is just recording it this size and just making this bigger. So it'll be a little too big for me to use, like, it'll be ridiculous big, but it'll look fine. Because I could just take the whole thing and bump the font. Well, I mean, instead of 10, make it 24. And then stretch to fit. Okay, 24 is too big. 14. Stretch to fit. Hey, that's not bad. It's bigger. It's not great. We can go to 18. Stretch to fit. That'll work. Alright, so hopefully that's a little bit bigger for you. It looks a little ridiculous for me. But it's all about the broadcast. Because it's all about the broadcast. About that broadcast. No travel. My apologies to Ariana Grande. Yeah, I guess that'll work. It does look strange, but it'll be fine. What I'll probably want to do is these guys... I want to stretch to be like that big. Yeah, that's still too big, but that's okay. I don't know how big that is, so we'll just stretch to like that big. Oops. I don't want to do the top row though. As always, nothing but the best production values here at Purple Frog Live. Alright, I want this to be bigger. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Okay, anyway, whatever. So, welcome, hello. This is the first update after I have returned from holiday, and I was going to update while I was on vacation, and frankly, I just couldn't be bothered, because we were having too much fun, doing too many things. As it is the first day we were down there, I didn't sleep, as you know, from the recordings. Actually, you don't know that entirely, because it was so late that the CK2 didn't render in time. So these first three CK2s I actually recorded before holidays. Same thing with these two Bob's Mods RSOs. So by this one I say I really should have slept and I didn't, and blah blah blah. So on Wednesday you'll get to hear all the fun of that. So I didn't sleep at all the night before our flight, because the flight was at 5:50 a.m., which means we had to leave here, here being the house, by like 4 o'clock to make sure that we got to the airport in enough time, because it's about a half hour away. To get through security and all that business, right? Because you got to be there. I mean, they say about 75 minutes. We got there about 90 minutes before. So it's, it's important, especially because we had to park it a lot, take the shuttle in, and all that business. So, I didn't sleep. So when we got in on Monday morning, basically I slept the rest of the day, and my wife basically did too. So it wasn't a total wash, but we didn't go to any of the parks. So we tried to like squish it in the other 4 days because we had a 5-day pass. We almost went back to Animal Kingdom at 7 a.m. on Saturday because our flight didn't leave until 1:50, and then we decided, we'll just sleep. But it turns out the Magic Kingdom is open till midnight on Friday, so we stayed there till like 11:30. It was pretty awesome. It was a good time. We had a lot of really good fun. We got to ride a lot of cool rides. We got to do a lot of neat attractions. We got plenty of pictures taken. I mean, there's 1.3 gigabytes of pictures between my whole family that were taken, so that's pretty cool. And we just had a generally all-around good time, and that's great. Granted, it's expensive to go to Disney World. I don't know if you've ever done it, but if you have, plan ahead, because holy smokes. So my sister signed us up for 4 meals together, like big reservations. We did the Hoop-Dee-Doo review Monday night, which I'd never been to, so that was kind of cool. I don't know that it was totally worth the cost. It's a family style dinner, all you can eat, and they did really good. We polished off like the mashed potatoes and the corn, and they brought more of those, no questions asked. There was strawberry shortcake at the end. They brought 3 big ones for our table because there were 10 of us, like with my sister, her family, and my parents and my wife. And so it was like, I mean, it was really cool. It was a good show. I mean, they put the musicians were great. The singers were all right too. And the show was sort of funny. It's basically been the same for 40 years. So you can tell some of the jokes are getting a little bit old, but still, it was pretty good. I mean, improv is never easy, so it was a decent time. And thankfully to my parents, they paid for that one, so it's like, okay, no big deal. Well, the second meal we went to as a family was Tuesday night, and it was the breakfast at Chef Mickey's. And if you have an opportunity, first off, if you don't have kids, don't go to any meal that has the characters in it. Don't. It's not worth it, because you can see all of the characters of the park. There's no character that's exclusive to the meals. Now, granted, at the Chef Mickey meals, they're all in chef's outfits, so you can't get them in those outfits out in the park, but you can see the characters out in the park. So it's not worth it if you don't have kids. Now, the kids, I've got 3 nieces and a nephew, and they loved it. Like, they loved the characters and eating with the characters, right? But for my wife and I, who are now footing the bill for this one, it was $47 a person before taxes and tip. And because we were a party of 10, obviously gratuity was included. Now, granted, we're going to tip the guys. It's not like we're not going to tip the guys, right? Because we're not those people. But wow. I mean, wow. It was a little bit of sticker shock. I'm not going to lie about that at all. And it was tough. This is not making me happy. I want to make these guys just a little bit bigger. I want to do kind of that. Yeah, I thought that would happen. So now shrink this down to almost nothing. That's still not good enough. All right. Shrink that down to just barely. And move over here. And then do that. Cool. All right, that looks happier. I need some white space in my design. So, it was just really expensive. So I told my sister, I said, look, we can't afford to do the last 2 if they're going to be like this. She's like, well, you should have done your research, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, we don't understand. I mean, it said it was a buffet, right? So we're thinking like a buffet at Disney, all right, like $25 a plate, no problem. We could spend $50 plus tax and tip, easy, right? No, I mean, it's $47 a person. So it was too late to cancel out of Akershus, which is the Disney Princess Breakfast. And I'm glad we didn't, because the princesses are pretty beautiful. But again, because it was fun to watch the nieces get all excited about that. But then, again, for breakfast, it was like $30 a person. So, it's like, wow, that's insane. For a breakfast, family style, right? Now, again, same thing, all you could eat. So we ran out of eggs, they brought more eggs. Ran out of cheesy potatoes, they brought more cheesy potatoes. So, I mean, it was like, there was plenty of food. So we ate plenty of food. But it's just, wow. You're paying for the characters, basically. And I understand it. Like, I'm not upset about it. Just be prepared. Because it's expensive. We chose not to go to the Be Prepared, or the Be Our Guest lunch, which honestly would have been cheaper than going to the Be Our Guest dinner, but still probably would have been $25 or $30 a person. And by that point, it was just like, good Lord, we got to eat some cheap. I mean, by Friday night, we just ordered a pizza because it was so bad. Like, look, it's $10 for a pie. Let's order in, right? So eating can be expensive. The best eating at Walt Disney World is in Epcot at the Countries, hands down, the best eating. So definitely, give that a go. We had my wife had Moroccan for lunch one day. That's not really to my taste, but I had a very nice French baguette sandwich. Ham and cheese. I think it was Gruyere or something like that. I don't know. It was very good, white, melty kind of cheese. Quite excellent. And a croissant. It was, c'est magnifique. And then we both had creme brulee because it was there. So that was good. I mean, so that meal cost us $40 total, right? That's not horrible, actually, because she got shawarma, a good chicken shawarma, which was on a very full plate. And I had a good sandwich. I mean, it was probably an 8-inch baguette. And then the 2 creme brulees and that. So, I mean, it's there. But, man, you're going to spend money. And the trip kind of served to just remind us that we don't really have it. So it's like, thank you to my parents. I mean, they don't watch this at all. None of my parents' friends watch this either. But thank you to them for helping us to get there. Because without their help and assistance, we wouldn't have done it. I mean, we flew on my dad's airline miles for the most part. Which was good and helpful. We stayed in the same hotel room that they did, which, I mean, it was like a suite because it was part of the Disney Vacation Club. They're not members, but I guess you can buy time from other people. I don't know how it works. very confusing. But it worked out just fine. So we stayed at the Bay Lake Towers, actually, at the Contemporary. It was very, very lovely. It was very nice to be able to walk to the Magic Kingdom. It was very cool. But we did a lot of stuff. We got to see Chewbacca. Chewbacca was awesome. The cast member that was playing Chewbacca that day was really cool. He did the little, and so I did back at him, and you could. It was one of those visible. Oh, it's a kindred spirit, right? And he took both of his hands and like shook my hand in both of his hands, like he was very excited. And then he shook my wife's hand, patted her on the head, and was like, oh, it made the sound. It was really cool. So we got our pictures taken with Chewbacca, and we got a bunch of different character things. My wife is obsessed with Toy Story, so we got our picture with Woody and Buzz, and it was good. Tuesday we went to the Animal Kingdom, which didn't exist the last time I was at Disney. I mean, it's been like 21 years, 22 years since I've been to Disney, and Disney as an adult is a lot different. By the way, I don't know. This apparently hasn't always been the case because one of my parents' friends was surprised about this, but it's open carry, man. Like anywhere on the park, no problem. As long as you bought it at the park, you can drink it at the park. And so my wife had plenty of wine. I actually didn't drink, come to think of it, but I certainly was tempted to do so. And I think had I not been spending $47 a plate, I might have done it. Because there was in England there was an $18 Scotch flight. And it was a Macallan flight, so you got to try the Macallan 12, 14, and 18. And it's like, oh man, that would be totally worth it. And we just never got around to it. So the first day we went to Animal Kingdom, we did this Kilimanjaro thing, which they put a bunch of people in this like big Jeep, and then you trundle around to actually all the different places to see the animals. That was kind of cool. We did it again later on Friday, and it was a completely different experience, which was cool because one, it meant they were real animals. Because they were in different places, and we got to see stuff like we didn't see on the Tuesday. Like on the Tuesday, we didn't see the black rhino because the black rhinos tend to be skittish, so they don't come out very often. So we got to see one of those, and then there were ostriches. Like we saw ostrich eggs on the first day, but then there were actual ostriches that were just running around, and the giraffes were in different places, and the zebras were in different places, and the antelope and the gnus and stuff, and it was really cool. So that was neat. I went on a roller coaster in Everest, which is fine. I can go on roller coasters. I do get sick, so I take Dramamine, and it usually helps out fine. But one of the things that kind of cuts through all of those precautions is going backward, and that coaster goes backward. And I was like, oh, it's going to be a little bit, because that's what they told me. Oh, it's just a little bit. Don't worry about it. Okay. They being my family. This is not what Disney said, so don't think I'm making disparaging remarks about Disney. Because for the most part, I'm not. Generally, they were quite helpful and friendly and responsive. There were one or two exceptions, but that's always going to be. I mean, think of how many thousands of people work for Disney, so obviously some people are going to slip through. And it went backward too long. So when I got off of it, I was just, so queasy. So, I had to buy a $3 bottle of Sprite, other sodas available, so that way I could be better. And by the way, this is not a big advertisement for Disney. That's just where I went on vacation. I'm not being endorsed by them. They did not pay me. This is not any sort of whatever. This is just my impressions of being a person that's been to Disney for the first time in 21 years. So, that roller coaster, it was cool. It was really cool. But I just get sick on those rides if I go backwards too long. I'd rather go upside down. Like going upside down is not as much of a problem as going backward. So I was okay. My wife loved it. She loves roller coasters, so that was cool. My niece is 5, and so she went on that coaster for the first time. Never been on a roller coaster before. Wasn't really sure what to expect. Liked it, hated it, liked it. So I mean, it's one of those moments, right? That was neat. And then we just kind of walked around. Then we split from our family at that point because the girls, actually, my parents left to do something else. I have no idea what they went to do. I hung out with my sister's family, and then one of my sister's friends, former coworkers, or maybe current coworker. I'm not sure. I didn't really pay attention. I'm kind of a horrible brother. They hung out and did like this. There was the dino thing, and then when that was over, we're kind of like, we're kind of sick of kids because they were starting to break down. It's like the middle of the day, right? They've been going since 7 a.m, and now it's 4:30, and they're just kind of, and we're just like, we're kind of done. So we just left. We said, hey, we're going to go over to to Hollywood Studios, and we're going to go have some fun, do this, blah, the other. And my sister's like, okay, yeah, cool, no problem, go have fun. Ching. So we went off to Hollywood Studios, did that thing. That's when we met Chewbacca, and it did that for the rest of the time. Hollywood Studios, honestly, it's a half-day park. You could do most of it in a half day. Now they're adding more to it because there's going to be like more Star Wars stuff that's not open yet. But for now, It's kind of like a half-day park. Same thing with Animal Kingdom. You could do Animal Kingdom. You could take a whole day there, but you could do it in a half day. And honestly, I kind of recommend it. If you do 2 different half days, so you get a park hopper or whatever, right? It's going to be different the second time you're there because the animals are all going to be in different places. So I think it's worth it in that instance to do 2 half days there. And then a half day at Hollywood Studios is fine. We saw the Muppets 3D. I love 3D stuff. My wife hates 3D stuff, so it's like a push and pull. I went on the coasters. She went to the 3D thing, right? And so that was fun. And I like that kind of stuff. And it was kind of neat. Wednesday, we spent the entire day in Epcot because Epcot for an adult is awesome. We did all the rides except for the energy thing, the test track, and the space because I get sick on the space simulator type thing. And the test track okay, you're going around in a circle real fast. I mean, it's the same reason I don't like NASCAR. It's kind of like, okay, it's just a circle, right? I mean, I don't get it. You can tell me why it's so awesome because I don't get it. But that's how that is. And then what else? What else we got? I mean, that was we went around the nations. Met a really cute Scottish lass who worked at. If you're watching this, I don't know. I might have some fans in Florida, but if you're watching this, Holly, you were awesome. They did the whole heraldic thing. Like my family is very old. My surname from this research center, and of course this is just some Floridian research center out of Kissimmee, and they traced it back to the 1300s. My family, personally, like my cousin, has traced it back to the 1400s, unbroken. So, like, it's a very old family, and we have a coat of arms and a crest. So, like, they had it at the shop, and I'm like, well, okay, let's do this, because it was the family history and the crest both for a very reasonable price, and so we did that. And in their database, only about 40% of the names have coat of arms associated with it, because obviously you have to get them from the crown. So at one point, it's not necessarily that we were landed, although it is likely. So if you go back far enough, we're in the peerage, but very far back, and I'm sure the family has branched a number of times since. And there it is. So we did that. It was cool. And like I said, she was super cute. So don't tell my wife. I mean, you could tell my wife because it's a harmless flirtation for somebody that I'm never going to see again. So there you have it. But that's when we found out too that we knew that Disney goes to the countries to. This is going to be a long update. We're already at 17 minutes. Disney goes to the countries to hire young people, like college age people, to come and do their internship program. And then what I found out from there is it's 1 year and 1 year only. It is not renewed. So you basically get to spend a year in Disney working for the mouse, doing all that stuff. Excuse me. And I mean, she said it was worth it from her perspective. Although I hear working for the mouse is great for the first year or two, and then it kind of gets dull. But I don't know. Give me the opportunity someday, I'll let you know. That's a different conversation. So that was cool. And then we just walked around the rest of Epcot and just did that. And then we had to come back. Oh no, because Tuesday was Chef Mickey's. Wednesday was the morning. I don't even remember what we did for food on that day. But we walked around to different stuff, did Epcot at night. Did not stay for the fireworks. We actually didn't stay for any of the fireworks except for Friday because it happens at 10 o'clock at the Magic Kingdom, and we just happened to be there because we were going to be there like the whole day. But it was very cool. And Thursday we went to the Magic Kingdom for the whole day and did all the rides that I like to do. I'm one of those people that likes It's a Small World like a lot. So we rode it twice on Thursday and again on Friday because it's just awesome. I love that ride. And I danced to it the whole time. It was, whatever. I have no shame. And it was enjoyable. We did Peter Pan, of course. We did all the other different types of non-motion sickness types of rides. We did not get to do the roller coasters, which I kind of feel guilty about because the lines were always just so long and we fast passed other things. And we probably should have really done that. And we didn't, so I kind of feel like I failed my wife a little bit there, but she assures me it was fine. So I don't know. Reasons to go back, right? And then Friday we did we did every park but Hollywood Studios again. So we started in Animal Kingdom. No, wrong. We started in Epcot, then we went to Animal Kingdom. Animal Kingdom closed at 5:30, so then we came home for dinner, we went to the hotel room, where we did pizza, and then went back to the Magic Kingdom until like 11 o'clock. It was awesome. It was so cool. And when you're at late night on a Friday, like, no waiting in any ride. Like, you just keep walking. You're going to walk the whole line, but there's no waiting. Peter Pan, there was a wait. There's a wait for the 2 coasters. But other than that, you just walked in and did anything you want to do. It was super cool. In January. I don't know how it is the rest of the year, but in January you could do that. So the whole trip as a whole was great, except that I came home and I'm like, well, I really don't feel into recording videos, although I did. I recorded this GeoGuessr. This was not done before I left. I actually did, this is the first one. I did the whole week's worth of GeoGuessrs and Binding of Isaac, episode 40. I did all of those today because I didn't start recording until 5:45. It took that long before I was like, okay, it's time to really start going. And then the update. So I'm good through Tuesday, right? I'll live stream still on Tuesday, and then I'll get, on Monday night, which is tonight as you watch this. Actually, also as I record this now because it's after midnight. I'll try and knock these 5 out of the park, and then Wednesday I'll try and get these 6, and then Thursday I'll do these 3, and maybe start in on the next week. I'm not sure exactly what way I'm going to do that. Well, Thursday I'll do the update, so on Wednesday I'll do like these 5, and then Thursday I'll do these. I don't know what I'll do, but regardless, it will get done. All the GeoGuessrs are recorded with the new recording setup, which is the old recording setup, which is what works. So that's good. Let me know about the audio balance. They're all identical in GeoGuessr. I turned it up a little bit for this update. So if the GeoGuessr in the morning was too quiet and this is too loud, let me know. I think this level will be better as a whole. I'm just guessing. It looks like the microphone's not picking me up as well as it was earlier today, too. I don't know why that might be, but the waveforms just aren't quite as loud. But that's okay, because that all gets fixed in processing anyway. Afterbirth is the new setup. I think Afterbirth is going to be too loud, so let me know about that one, too, when you hear it on Tuesday. I'm going to record these 2 anyway and just hope. Then the live stream is going to be tricky, because I have to use OBS to stream it. But OBS gives the problems with the audio. So I'm not entirely certain what we're going to do there. I'm going to stream, but it could be some really funky audio. That's my fair warning for you. I have no idea what it's going to look like for these for the rest of the week. We'll get to that more on Friday and let you know how everything happened. But that's kind of the idea. Obviously, this week, this is all we got done. This is a small thing again, but because I was in Orlando, so we went down to 2 videos a day. I don't think that was too horrible of a compromise to get that done. But we're back in 4 a day is certainly possible, and it's doable. And I've already started, as you can see, I've already started planning next week, and we'll talk about that on Friday. But this is really just kind of an update to let you know that, yes, I'm still alive. I've survived all 3 plane flights just fine. Everything is going fairly well. And I just have zero desire to go to work now. It really being in Disney and having that kind of freedom for the week, it really reminded me that I don't really like my job. I did for a long time, and now I kind of don't, and I don't know why. So it's something that I've got to kind of just examine and figure out the reason. And if I can figure it out, then try and fix it. Because honestly, you shouldn't be in a job that you're not enjoying at some level. Now, I understand we got to make money, right? It's not like I'm just going to quit tomorrow and try and be a full-time YouTuber, because that's not going to work, because we can't cut 2/3 of our combined income and call it good. It doesn't work that way. And it turns out I'm actually, I guess, kind of good at what I do. So, they would like me to keep working there. It's just, it's frustrating. There's a video that's going around right now of Steve Harvey talking about taking the jump. And just to paraphrase it and cut it real short, it's basically that, you have a God-given gift, because he's a very religious man, very much into the whole God as a foundation type of thing, which we've talked about religion on this channel a little bit. We're not going to go into it to hardcore, because I'm very religious, but not of the point that I'm like, Jesus said this and you must do this, and that's not how I like to live my life, because it's supposed to be that you live your life according to how you think Jesus would want you to do it, and then people will see that, and that's how they get the message, right? You don't have to beat them over the stick, because that doesn't work. And also because I'm religious, but also spiritual, so I understand that man's interpretation of God, it comes through many different lenses, and none of them are 100% correct, because God is unknowable, right? It's the whole thing. If you watch Dogma, which you should, because Alan Rickman, rest in peace, he's unknowable. It's ineffable. His plan is not known to us. It cannot be known. So anyway, Steve Harvey's thing is that, we all have this gift. God has given everybody a gift. And his whole position is that you should use the gift. Take the jump. Because when you jump, your gift is like a parachute on your back and it will open and blah, 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 blah. And he warns you, of course, saying that the first time you jump, it's not going to open. Second time you jump, it might not open either. But you've got to keep jumping and eventually it will carry you, right? Which is great if you know what your gift is. If you don't know what your gift is, that's horrible advice. So how do you know? I don't know. And that's one of the things I'm struggling with right now. Like, what am I actually good at? I don't need to be the best at something, right? I don't need to be the Albert Einstein of physics or of whatever I'm good at. I don't need to be the Sergei Fedorov. I mean, I'm thinking hockey, right? I don't need to be the Bobby Orr. I don't need to be Steve Yzerman, Wayne Gretzky. I don't need to be the best. But I'd like to know what I'm actually good at. I'd like to think it's videos. I've done 1,200 of them now, and it's been moderately well received, but it's not like I have hundreds of thousands of followers. Not that I was expecting that after less than a year anyway. Let's be honest. I'm realistic. Is this really what I'm good at? Is this what I should be trying to do? I don't know. I loved computer programming. As I'm working on this thing at work right now, which is using Excel VBA, and I'm loving it. Like, it's a lot of fun. It's probably the only thing that's really fun at work right now. And it's like, is that what I'm good at? Is that my gift? I don't know. How do you know what your gift is? It could be networking. It could be making a souffle. It could be making cheesecake. I make a good cheesecake. Is that what I should be doing? I don't know. I mean, how do you know? I don't think you can. And that's the scary thing. So that's what I'm working on right now, and that's what's driving my life. I've made no secret of the fact in the past that I go through periods of depression. It is a horrible, horrible thing to go through. But there are plenty of people out there, and I'm sure plenty of people watching this right now that do it. And just remember, and I'm telling this to remind myself too, that depression lies, and that, life is never as bad as it seems, and that there will always be a path eventually. And right now, I don't know what that path is, and it terrifies me because I don't know. I don't know. I'm thankful to be here. I'm not going to do anything drastic. You don't have to call the cops. It's not like I'm that depressed at this point, but I'm depressed. I mean, I have clinical depression. It comes and goes, and it's just something that, like any other disease, it's something you deal with. And I'm dealing with it right now, and it just happened to hit at a bad time because I had a great vacation and came home now and have zero desire to go back to work because I feel like I'm not doing anything worthwhile. And that's frustrating, I don't know how to turn this one around either to make it less of a depressing thing, other than to say Disney was amazing. I mean, it was a lot of fun. And my very first Spanish phrase that I learned, it turns out I did remember it. Por favor, no manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. I learned that on the Disney monorail back when I was like 8 years old. I mimicked it, memorized it, and I couldn't tell you where all the words had fallen before. Now I kind of do. I'm pretty sure it's por favor, which I know. Mantengan se alejado de las puertas. So there you go. Please stand clear of the doors. That's your Spanish phrase of the day. Go ahead and commit that to your phrase books. It will be very, very helpful. If you learn Spanish nouns, you could do it in anything. Like if there's a robber that comes into your living room and they're about to take your Van Gogh, you could say, "Hey, por favor, no mantengan se alejado de las pinturas." And then they'll walk right away. I can guarantee it. I can't guarantee it. The music we've been listening to has been from Europa Universalis 4 and Crusader Kings 2, provided by Paradox Entertainment. There's, as part of their standard, hey, YouTube vloggers, you can use these as you'd like. Of course, make sure to mention that. And that's me doing this right now. The link should be in the descriptions. And if not, well, you can go buy them on Steam. Both games are available on Steam. You can also get them from ParadoxPlaza.com. They're fantastic games. And you can also buy the soundtrack separately if all you're after is the music. And the music is very, very good. Though if you're going to download the Europa Universalis 4 music, I recommend that you download Guns, Drums, and Steel. It's not what we're listening to because we're listening to just the base game music, but I may start putting that into the rotation because it is very, very good. The new Crusader Kings 2 music is very good as well. And it's also not what we're listening to. So I'm not sure where that lives on my system. I'm going to have to find it. But the rest of it, you could definitely download and take a look, take a listen. It's fantastic stuff. If you have any comments, as always, leave them down below. I love reading the comments and helping to make the pond grow and get better. If you like this video, go ahead and click like for the updates. It certainly does help at least get us into the search rankings. Definitely consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, because then you'll know when everything happens as it happens. And until next time, cheers.